Revenge films.
I finished work early one day. I drove home with my boss to pick up some fishing gear to go fishing with him. But when I got home, there was a car that I had never seen before parked in my driveway. When I got inside, my wife was sleeping with another man in our bed. My boss and I froze in our tracks. We didn't have smartphones back then, so I couldn't record anything immediately, so I wasn't able to collect hard proof. All of a sudden, my boss started calling his wife. His wife told him to buy a camera and take a photo, so he ran to the store while I kept the two from running away. The entire time, the boyfriend seemed panicked, and my wife started crying.
It was nothing serious. It's you who I love, Jack. Hear me out.
She was wailing at me, but I just ignored her. My boss came back shortly with a disposable camera and started taking pictures of them in the room with their clothes tossed around. Afterwards, we had a discussion.
We've only known each other for 2 months. This is only the second time that we've met.
My wife made all kinds of excuses, cried for forgiveness. I was an idiot back then, and I still loved her. I was about to forgive them because she seemed sorry about it. I almost bought her a story that was just an innocent mistake. Right then, my boss's wife called back.
Come over to my house. We need to talk.
So I went over to my boss's house with him. When I got there, she asked me something odd.
Did you buy a new car recently, Jack?
I hadn't. According to her, she was pregnant and stopped by the hospital regularly for checkups every month, and always passed by my house on her way. And she had seen the car parked there multiple times before. She figured that I bought a new car, but she thought it was weird that neither I nor my boss ever mentioned it. So, after hearing about the affair, she started connecting the dots and asked me that question. When did you see that car?
The first time I saw it was when I was 4 months pregnant, and I've seen it there every time since then.
She was 9 months in. This testimony was proof that my wife and her boyfriend were lying to me. I stood there in shock, then...
You need a lawyer. Go home and thoroughly investigate your entire house.
So I went with my boss, his wife, and another coworker back to my place. When we arrived, that boyfriend was still there. My boss's wife pointed at the car when we pulled up.
Yeah, this is the same car.
I was able to confirm with her that it was the same license number that she had been seeing for the past few months. Now I was sure that she'd been having an affair the whole time. I stormed into the house with everyone, ready to beat the crap out of the guy, but froze when I ran into him in the middle of a heated argument with my wife. The 3 men surrounded them and kept them in place while my boss started searching.
I'm gonna go ahead and open these drawers, okay, Jack?
She searched efficiently and found underwear, brand bags, condoms, and even adult sex toys. She took photos of everything with great efficiency. By the way, just in case you're wondering, I was trying to get my wife pregnant for a while now, so we hadn't used condoms in a long time. You liars. You said you've only known each other for 2 months and that this was only your second time meeting each other. No, we're not lying. I explained to them that my boss's wife had the receipts from all of her hospital visits with dates, and that she had seen the car here on multiple occasions. The boyfriend started shaking. I'm sorry, I saw her 2 years ago and approached her. My wife felt cornered and started fighting back. She pointed at my boss's wife, yelling,
That's an invasion of privacy.
She stopped her hands for a moment and smirked.
Shut the hell up. You've been having an affair while your husband was out working hard day and night.
My wife just went silent. Oh man, my boss's wife can be pretty intimidating. After a while, she'd collected plenty of evidence for me.
You can stay with us for a while, Jack. It's bad for your mental health to stay in this filthy place.
She had my boss and my coworker help gather my things, and we left. She wasted no time in getting the pictures developed. That night, I got drunk and cried at my boss's house. The next morning, they took me to a law firm. My boss's wife had taken the boyfriend's driver's license and taken note of his name and address for me. She even made him give up his landline, so things went smoothly. After giving the lawyer all this information, the lawyer contacted a detective, and We were able to figure out who he was in a single day. To our surprise, the guy had a pregnant wife. We handed the lawyer the photographs along with the dates the boss's wife had documented and explained how we caught them red-handed at my house.
Well, that should be more than enough evidence.
Things started moving very smoothly. I'm embarrassed to say that my wife had used most of our savings buying high-end brand items for herself. My boss's wife fronted me the money to proceed with the lawsuit.
You can pay me when you have the money. This is where things start getting hard. So push through this, all right?
I'll be forever grateful to my boss and his wife for everything they did for me back then. In the past, one of my boss's employees was having an affair, and she had helped out then as well. That's why she was so used to the whole process and knew exactly how to proceed. She had made a few more copies of the photographs and gave them to me.
This is evidence. Don't worry. Even if someone tries to destroy these, I can redevelop them as many times as you need. Make sure you discuss this with her parents as well.
I followed her advice and went to visit my in-laws with my boss. They were skeptical at first, so I handed them the pictures, and after a moment of silence, begged me for forgiveness. But after the whole encounter with my wife and her boyfriend fooling around on my bed, my mind was set. I was determined to get a divorce. I wasn't thinking things through enough, and it hadn't crossed my mind that I could charge the boyfriend for alimony as well. As a matter of fact, I thought that I was the one who'd have to pay because I was the one who wanted the divorce. After discussing my concerns to my boss's wife, she scolded me.
What are you talking about? You better squeeze every last penny out of that girl.
That's when I found out I had the power to get justice served to the two of them. After consulting my lawyer, I filed for $50,000 from each of them. It took a while for my wife to agree to the divorce, but after I started mentioning how I'd already hired a lawyer and explained the law about divorce settlements, her parents panicked. They figured that if I tried to fight this and make things more complicated, my boss's wife would just make it worse, so they agreed to the sum and I got my divorce. They promised to pay me in split payments, so I assured them that if the payments were ever delayed, I would make her pay the remaining amount in one payment, even if that meant selling her house. Her boyfriend got a divorce too and was charged for alimony and child support by his wife. My wife was charged alimony from her as well. I'm not sure how much he owed in total, but she continues to pay me to this day. I wasn't too sure what it was at the time, but my boss's wife and my lawyer had me write something called a notarial act, which ended up proving to be quite powerful. It helped me collect every dime that I was owed. I had the boyfriend pay me half the amount up front and the rest in split payments. I used the rest of that money to move to a new house. My parents lived quite far away, so my boss let me stay with them until I found my new place. His wife was pregnant but still washed my clothes for me and made me lunch to bring to work and even dinner to eat at night. I was always fed ready-made food, and when I was right with my wife, because she complained about how cooking ruined her nails, I was reminded of how delicious homemade food was. Shortly after, I successfully got my divorce and became single again. I was haunted by that memory for a while. Sometimes I cried, but my boss kept me busy at work to take my mind off of it. And wore me out so I could pass out like a baby at night. About 2 years after that, I met my current wife through a friend. My current wife is a small, chubby woman. I wouldn't say she is the pretty type either, but I love her innocent smile. I still work for my boss too, and my wife gets along with his wife.
How was today's video? If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Stay tuned for more.